Hello, Raven fans, Oriole fans. Thank you for joining us here on the Ravery Sports Podcast for fans like me. You get to like and subscribe. Looks like we got a lot of people in here. Let a few minutes go by. Let people get in here. And I'm sure a lot of you are excited today after the result of the Ravens game. So like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. If you're watching this right now, you're on our Ravery Sports YouTube page or our Twitch page or our Twitter page. So thank you for joining us here today. Real quick housekeeping, raverysports.company.site, where you can get Orioles and Ravens merchandise all the time, 24 hours a day on our website. 2025, the app is going to be coming out soon after New Year's, so we should be all squared away there. Best of 2024 for Ravery Sports, that's going to be on New Year's Eve. So you get to watch Best of Baltimore all year. Who's been the best Raven? Who's been the best Terp football, basketball, Baltimore sports athlete of the year, etc. We're going to do all that for the best of 2024 on New Year's Eve. You live in the Shenandoah Valley, Genesis Notary Services at facebook.com. You can book the appointment right there on the website. So definitely had a call about the notary business yesterday. Definitely, absolutely, you can do that. See Charles Harris. We are Legal Shield, legal needs at a very low cost. So definitely, if you want help with your legal services, definitely you could go there or go to our Facebook page. Just type in Harris Legal Shield, Winchester, Virginia. It'll be there. All right. Got the business out of the way. Join me. I'm going to have a sip. It's a great sip of anything when you get a result like we just had. 34-17 over the Squealers today. This was dominant Ravens. I loved it. I always like beating the Steelers anyway, because one, my brother, sure, he hasn't called yet today, which is very fascinating. He was quick to send me a text after the last game, but I haven't heard from him yet. So if he's watching this, there you go. I'm sure I haven't heard from him, or he'll be in the comments as well. But I loved it because of a couple of things. Obviously, you get in the playoffs, but it's the strategy of this. That's what, sometimes a coach will say, like, it's not. I remember when I was little and I was playing basketball, playing in a basketball league, and we got beat by 30 points one day. It was just awful. I thought we got beat every way. And the coach, well, I was riding home with the coach. He used to give us a ride home, some of us a ride home. And he said, you know what? That was the best game you guys have played. It's like, what do you mean it was the best game we played? We got smacked. It's like, you guys played great. They just didn't hit the shots the way you were supposed to in the game. And that's why we lost. We had been hitting those shots, but y'all did everything. Your movement and everything was good. Now, what does any of that have to do with today? They adjusted the strategy to beat the Steelers where they hadn't been doing that the last few games. I thought it was great coaching today overall by the Ravens offense, especially Todd Monken. What happened? Ravens adjusted their offensive strategy in this one against Pittsburgh, focusing on moving the ball between the tackles rather than challenging the Steelers' edge rushers, especially. Inside runs by Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Justice Hill. Prayers up for Justice Hill. That looked terrible, the injury after that, because he really just got knocked completely out on spot. He got his head hit the turf and it got up. It was glad to easily see him even get up, but we knew he wasn't coming back. He completely got knocked out from the head. Great run getting the first down from Hill. But with that said, I liked it because they adjusted. The Ravens have been losing to the Steelers with Lamar. They're having trouble with the edge rushers with the great TJ Watt, Highsmith. They got Preston Smith. They're having trouble with the edges. This game, they focus just going up the middle. We're going to go ahead, take Henry, hit you in the mouth. We're not going to do a lot of that. We're not going to do a lot of that stuff. Lamar's used to taking the edge, realized there was an issue, and they ran the ball up the middle. Henry was terrific. I think the whole strategy of it was terrific as well. I think it worked. The Steelers had trouble. There was some injuries for Pittsburgh today. Their corners, I think both of them were out of the game, both starters. I know Jackson missed the whole game. Porter, I think, went out during the course of the game. So there was some of that as well. But I gotta say, it was excellent. I loved it. I love the strategy. Good job from them. Cleaner game from the Ravens today. Fewer penalties. Um, the biggest problem I thought, and Tom Brady mentioned it during the broadcast, is that it was a lot of the Ravens do a lot of beating themselves, leading the league in penalties. None very cleaner today. There was that one on Stanley earlier, but fewer penalties, far fewer penalties in this one. It reflected in the whole performance of the line. I thought the line looked as good today as I've seen them all season long. Some of it, like you said, was a strategy. They kind of simplified things, but I'm gonna give Todd Monken credit. Todd Monken actually, I thought, was excellent today with the strategy. The whole thing I thought was masterclass. I thought it was fantastic. You took your own weakness and kind of used it against Pittsburgh today. That edge rush and those issues, that's exactly what you did today. So I thought it was fantastic coaching, fantastic implementation of strategy separately using a strength today. So I thought that was terrific. In this one, Ravens exploited the weak receiving corps by the Squealers. Constant pressure led to a pivotal pick six by Marlon Humphrey in this one. First of all, I think some people are going to say because of the Pickens injury, that's why the Ravens had more success. That could be right. I do think that could be right. I do think, though, the pressure I think the Ravens got was consistent enough. It did mess up a lot of those easy throws that Russell had to do. He had to really work hard to complete passes. In this one, he did make some good throws. I mean, because that's what he does. Especially that deep throw to Austin was terrific. But I thought they did very well with pressure as well on Marlon. Marlon, I think, has been fantastic all season. Marlon should absolutely go to the Pro Bowl. That was terrific. I didn't like he was holding the ball back to Dion. Don't do that, Marlon. Don't do that. You get a pick six, you make a play. You don't want to hold the ball back, and you want to go ahead, take it over the goal line. Take it over the goal line. I hate when players do that, where they just kind of don't take it over the goal line. Don't do that. That's just me personally how I feel about that. But great play, regardless. I think moving Adarius into the starting lineup has been the most positive personnel change all season long. They look like a totally different defense on the back end. Putting Kyle Hamilton in the position now where not what he was doing last year, not some Swiss Army knife, more of the captain of the back end has worked out great. Adarius today was terrific again. Solid tackling as usual as well. Actually, the one knocking the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands, getting the fumble, that changed the whole complexion of the thing today. So I thought it was terrific. The way they played, they did what they had to do. I do think, though, I'm going to stand by this, that the Steelers' offense is fraudulent. They're not, especially it showed without Pickens. They don't have playmakers. They don't have guys who could without Pickens. They don't have guys that can take the top off of defense. Their run game, I think, is kind of like it was exactly what I saw today. Harris, he's going to get you some runs. He's going to get a few yards, and they're not going to do a whole lot. I thought their defense is I think their offense is kind of fraudulent. But the Ravens took care of business as well. They didn't show it. They gave up 17 points, but it wasn't a great day for their offense. So I thought the Ravens did well there. Derrick Henry is not wearing down. That was crazy. Your team's defy expectations. No signs of slowing down. I think he had, what was it, 162 on the ground the last I checked, proving that even like with the strategy today, where they clearly were trying to keep the ball inside the tackles as well, there was no answer for Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, I think, could have had even 200 yards today had the game played 4.5 quarters. Derrick Henry was terrific in this one as well. I didn't put it in the note here, but I want to say Zay Flowers really looks good too. Zay Flowers is developing right before us. Andrews is now a guy who is, using in the red zone, using as more of a decoy, using as a blocker. Still productive for Mark Andrews, don't get me wrong, but Zay Flowers is the guy. I mean, Zay Flowers had over 100 yards again today. He's definitely going to reach. I think he. I don't know if he's reached 1,000 yards, but I think he's at 1,000 yards for the season now. So outstanding. And they're actually now, what I've seen, unlike what Ravens in the past, he's not just eating what's there they're looking for. He's part of things. He's the guy. His physicality is really impressive. Not tall, obviously, very like 6, not even 6 foot tall. But now I've seen more and more, and I've seen this all season, a little more Tyreek Hill in him, a little more Steve Smith in him. Guys grab him and he throws them off. He takes them down to the ground. So and all that. He can run routes. He can outrun you, but he's physically good enough to be a number one receiver. So very impressive, I thought, all the way around by the Ravens offense today as well. And now the Ravens are now tied for first in the North. They have clinched the playoff spot. 2 regular season games left. The real season is almost here. So they are in a tie for first. So if the season ended right now, the Squealers would still win the division. Okay. But the Ravens are in a first place tie. So there's 2 games left. So the Squealers do have to lose one or both of their games, and the Ravens have to win one or both of their games to go ahead and in. So the Squealers play Kansas City next Sunday. On Christmas Day, right before the Ravens play the Texans in that. So we'll know when we hit the field once what the story is with that as well. So if KC wins and the Ravens win, the Ravens are in first all by themselves. If they both win, then we're still at a tie. We're still waiting for the last week as well. So it's pretty clear KC is going to have the number 1 seed, especially after winning today against Houston. Speaking of Houston, that's who the Ravens play on Christmas afternoon. Some people might only be watching the game because it's Christmas Day game. Beyonce is going to be singing there, whoever cares about that. Beyonce, but definitely this is a huge win for the Ravens today, and a huge. We're now getting to it. We're going to find out exactly what it is that the Ravens are going to do come playoff time. Playoffs are almost here. The Ravens will be in it. Regardless of what happens from here on out, we will see the Ravens in the playoffs, and we may see the Steelers again. You never know how it goes. Steelers are already in. So let's get a drink, guys. Get a little sip. I don't drink much alcohol, but I definitely, for those of you over 21 out there that are watching, definitely go ahead and do whatever you're going to do if you haven't already started during the game, I'm sure. All right, so let's go ahead and get this squared away. Ravens, again, over the Squealers today, 34-17. Definitely go ahead and check us out this week. Podcast this week is going to be on Tuesday, okay? Obviously, because I picked the podcast day as Wednesday because I figured we'd never get a game Wednesday. I could talk about last week's game and next week's game, and sure enough, they did it to us. We're going to have a Wednesday game that's on Christmas, and we'll be here after the game on Christmas. Even though it's Christmas Day, Ravens Sports Podcast is going to be doing our instant reaction Ravens-Texans after the game like we always do. All right. So thank you so much for joining us here on the Ravery Sports Podcast here. I'm looking for something here. Drink. Look what we want. Thank you for joining the Ravery Sports Podcast. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas.